time. Welcome to my channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
Okay, hi guys, we meet again, this time to sketch the exponential graph. So, as I already pointed out to you, okay, you need to know the basic shape on how to sketch the graph. So here we got two shapes. Just remember, we got two shapes and we're going to apply whatever tricks that we have discussed in the previous square root function in order to sketch the graph. So the two basic shapes that you should know is, if your x is positive, okay, your shape will be something like this. This guy is going on forever. This guy is getting close to your x-axis. And then the second shape is when your x here is negative. So the shape will be doing something like this. And also, if you see, okay, what we have here, this is something called asymptote. So this asymptote is none other than the line y equal to 0, y equal to 0. And you can actually go and work out the y-intercept. It is very useful for you to get your y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when x is 0, so e power 0 is going to be 1. So this guy also going to be 1. I'm not going to comment too much on the behavior of the function. If you want to know in detail, you can just go and input some values of x and you will see that is giving you the value of y, which would in turn give you the shape of the graph. Without further delay, let us go to our first example. Okay, this is the first example, guys. So every time you get the question, okay, we decide what type of graph this is. If you see here, right, okay, you see the x is positive, so it should be the first type that I introduced to you just now. So straight away, okay, we can consider drawing our graph. So type 1, you know how the shape looks like. So it's just going to be something like this. And as you can see, it cuts our y-axis, meaning to say I got y-intercept. So we've got y-intercept when x equals 0, so put 0 there. So it's going to be e power negative 1. Okay, e power negative 1. So it's 2 e power negative 1. So this guy, you can press your calculator and get the exact value. So you know definitely it's going to be something here. Let me put that in my calculator. So I'm going to get 2 to the power of 2 power negative 1. So that is going to be 0.73. Okay, so that is going to be a y-intercept. So as you can see here, this guy is your asymptote. This guy is your asymptote. This is your y equal to 0. And that's about it. So basically, okay, to sketch the graph for exponential, very simple. You know what type it is based on the value of x here. And here, okay, once you have drawn y-intercept, x equals 0, get this, you can just choose to leave in this form, or you can put in your calculator, get the decimal form. And of course, when we sketch our graph, is nothing complete than coming up with your domain and range. So the domain is going to be values of x where the graph exists. So my graph exists here now. So the domain is going to be negative infinity to infinity. My range is going to be values of y where the graph exists. So my graph exists here. So the lowest value, of course I don't reach 0. So 0. Catch you in the second example. Okay guys, the second example. Okay, now still very simple function. Number 1, need to decide, okay, what type of graph this is. Yes, this is the second type. Okay, so if you see here, why second type? As I already highlighted to you, okay, it's negative, so it follows the second type. So the shape we already know, so it's going to be doing something like that. Remember, this guy is trying to get very close to my asymptote or the line y equal to 0. So now I can go and work out my y-intercept when x equal to 0, so that is going to be 2e to the power of 1. So as I already mentioned to you, you can leave in this form, or better still, go and press your calculator, see what's the exact value. Okay, so very simple. And remember to label x, y. And for completeness purpose, we discussed about domain and range. So you can see here the domain, similar to what we have done. In fact, you would see exponential graph. Okay, the domain will always be negative infinity to infinity. Alright, and then the range, okay, as you see, okay, lowest value, the highest value. So here will be 0 to 3. Simple, right? Let's challenge ourselves. Okay guys, so if you watch my square root video, definitely you know what I'm going to do with this function. I'm not going to go and sketch the entire function straight away. What I'm going to do them in stages. Well, the first function that we can draw is y equal to 2e1 minus 2x. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Secondly, I'm going to go and draw y equal to negative 2e1 minus 2x. For those who are wondering the first time, why is it like that? Well, very simple. Because once we have drawn this graph, in order to obtain this graph, the effect of adding negative would mean you reflect about your x-axis. And then finally, I will go and do, once I've drawn this graph, I will go and consider negative 3. So negative 3 would mean shifting the graph downwards by 3 units. Hope you get the idea. Let us go and complete this. Okay, right. So drawing this graph is not really a big deal for you now because you saw that in the previous example. So this guy type 2, okay, you'll be doing something like this. And then you'll be cutting at 2e power 1, 2e power 1. So let me get that value exactly. 2, so I think it should be 5 point something. Okay, 5 point something. Let me get the exact value. So that is 5.44. Okay, 5.44. So my asymptote will be y equal to 0. Label your x and also your y. So done the first graph. And then the second graph, if you see, okay, we want to put the negative. So negative, so you know this graph is going to reflect about your x-axis. So we make use of our y-intercept. So your y-intercept now is going to become negative 5.44. So your shape is going to be something like this. Okay, make sure, okay, it is a mirror image. So almost there, this second graph. Let us see our final touch. Alright guys, so now it's about us putting our final touch in order to get our final graph. So as you can see, this is the graph for y equal to negative 2e1 minus 2x. The effect of doing minus 3 is you're going to go and pull the graph downwards by 3 units. So meaning to say the new y-intercept is going to be negative 8.44. And then this guy, although mathematically is incorrect, so just imagine this horizontal asymptote has been dragged down by 3 units. So now instead of y equals 0, you're going to have y equal to negative 3. So this is where my horizontal asymptote going to be. Okay, as I say, mathematically is incorrect, but then this is to make our life easier when you want to draw the graph. So the shape still remains the same. So this is our final graph for this function. So the technique very simple. First I draw this. Negative, you reflect about x-axis, and finally you pull the graph down by 3 units. The y-intercept changes, and your horizontal asymptote now from y equals 0 become y equal negative 3. Hope you are clear up until that. And we put our finishing touch by stating what's the domain and range. Domain, as I pointed out, negative infinity to infinity. And then the range is the value of y where the graph exists. So lowest value, the highest value, negative infinity up until negative 3, isn't it? Hope you gained something from my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Catch you in lawn function. Ciao.